The Calvert County, Maryland Commissioners' Reports is a headline news podcast brought to you in part by the Department of Communications and Media Relations. Commissioners' Reports is a summary of the agenda and outcomes of Board of County Commissioner meetings, related public information, and events. Hello, and welcome to Commissioners' Reports. I'm your host, Kevin G. Schmidt. In this week's Board of County Commissioner meeting, public service announcements. Recognition was shared for NAACP Day in Calvert County and the 104th anniversary of the founding of the League of Women Voters. Proclamation. National Engineers Week. National Engineers Week was established in 1951 and is dedicated to ensuring a diverse and well-educated engineering workforce by increasing understanding of and interest in engineering and technology careers. Calvert County recognizes and supports engineers in the craft of engineering as an economic equalizer crucial to the long-term growth of local communities, the state, and the nation. The BOCC proclaimed the week of February 18th through the 24th, 2024, be known as Engineers Week in Calvert County. Award. Employee Recognition Committee, January 2024, Employee of the Month. The Employee of the Month Award acknowledges individual excellence for superior job performance and/or special individual efforts that go above and beyond the employee's normal job duties. Linda Jones, Event and Marketing Coordinator with the Department of Parks and Recreation, was selected as the January 2024 Employee of the Month. Appointment. Paul Murdoch, Walter Cofield, and Andrea Thomas were appointed, and Harry Wedewer was reappointed to the Heritage Committee. Jacob Wells was appointed to the Owings Town Center Architectural Review Committee. Warren Rice was reappointed to the Economic Development Authority. Anna Vermillion was reappointed to the Animal Shelter Advisory Board. Old Business. Office of the County Attorney. Status of state legislation. The commissioner system is the oldest form of county government in Maryland. All the legislative and executive powers of the county commissioners come from the state legislature, approved by the governor. Consequently, commissioner counties only have those powers specifically granted to them and those implicitly needed to exercise those powers. The BOCC has submitted 3 requests for state legislation this session. Number 1. A request to provide local preference in relation to publicly bid projects, panhandling, and raising the formal bidding threshold. There are also several bills of importance the county attorney shared with the BOCC, including HB 766 is titled Calvert County Roadside Solicitation of Money or Donations Prohibition, and is a BOCC request sponsored by the Calvert County delegation. This legislation proposes expanding existing laws prohibiting solicitation in a public road to include Calvert County. A committee hearing is scheduled for February 22nd in Environment and Transportation, and staff requests a letter of support. The BOCC voted and approved sending a letter in support of this bill. HB 834 is titled Calvert County Ethics, Consequences of Conflict of Interest Violations, and is co-sponsored by Calvert County delegates Mark Fisher and Todd Morgan, Districts 27C and 29C respectively. This legislation proposes requiring that the conflict of interest provisions enacted by Calvert County include provisions relating to judicial relief for certain violations of these provisions, and requiring Calvert County to enact a law or regulation to require removal of a county elected official from office for violations of certain conflict of interest provisions. A committee hearing is scheduled for February 22nd in Environment and Transportation. The BOCC voted and approved sending a letter in support of this bill. HB 835 is titled Calvert County Procurement Local Preference and is a BOCC request sponsored by the Calvert County delegation. This legislation authorizes the BOCC to conduct public outreach and have a public hearing to consider an ordinance that establishes a local percentage preference for certain procurement contracts. A committee hearing is scheduled for February 20th in Health and Government Operations, and staff requested a letter of support. The BOCC voted and approved sending a letter in support of this bill. SB 788 is titled Battery Storage and Solar Arrays Safety Training Grant Program and Fund, and is sponsored by Senator McKay. This legislation intends to provide grants to the Maryland Fire and Rescue Institute to train local fire departments on certain safety aspects associated with lithium-ion battery storage systems installed with solar arrays. A committee hearing is scheduled for February 21st in the Senate. The BOCC voted and approved sending a letter in support of this bill. SB 589 is titled Tri-County Council for Southern Maryland Agriculture Development Funding. This legislation intends to increase funding from $900,000 to $1 million, the amount of an appropriation that the governor is required to include in the annual budget bill each year for the Tri-County Council for Southern Maryland from the Cigarette Restitution Fund. The BOCC voted and approved sending a letter in support of this bill. In a consent calendar, Department of Finance and Budget, American Rescue Plan Act budget amendment for Breezy Point shoreline restoration, stormwater/septic at Battle Creek, stormwater at Cove Point Park, and stormwater at Dunkirk Park. Department of Parks and Recreation, National Parks and Recreation Association, $2,000 grant supporting healthy aging in parks and recreation. Department of Finance and Budget, award recommendation to Reclothing LLC for mixed textile recycling services. These consent agenda items were adopted as presented. In new business, Department of Finance and Budget, Recreational Resources, FY25 Staff Recommended 6-Year Capital Improvement Plan. The Department of Finance and Budget and the Department of Public Safety will present a review of their proposed FY25 6-Year Capital Improvement Plan, CIP, to the BOCC. The Department of Finance and Budget has reviewed the Recreational Resources FY25 through FY30 6-year CIP staff recommended budget, totaling $98,285,285. This allocation encompasses diverse initiatives, including recreational park renovations, Breezy Point stormwater management remediation, Hall Aquatic Center roofing and HVAC, Kings Landing pool repair, the golf course, and natural resource parks. This informational presentation is part of the normal FY25 budget preparation season ahead of the staff recommended budget. Department of Planning Zoning, Red Hall Property, change in designated planning category request. A request to change a designated planning category for 17.15 acres of a 49.89 acre parcel from the Resource Conservation District to the Town Center has been received by the Department of Planning and Zoning, P&Z. The property is located at 10350 Ward Road in Dunkirk. The applicant proposes to utilize the land area as future septic/sewer effluent disposal fields to better serve the Dunkirk Gateway Shopping Center. The 17.15 acres currently adjoin, but are outside of the Dunkirk Town Center, and will require an amendment to the 2019 Comprehensive Plan as amended in 2022. The proposal is consistent with the Calvert County Comprehensive Plan's vision to promote sustainable development, encourage a stable and enduring economic base, and provide for health and safety. Since Planning and Zoning staff is updating the Dunkirk Town Center Master Plan, the proposal may be submitted for consideration as part of the update. After discussion, the BOCC authorized staff to initiate the process of getting public input on the requested amendment to the Calvert County Comprehensive Plan. Department of Planning and Zoning, Consolidated Transportation Program, Calvert Priorities for FY25 through FY30. Each year, the BOCC submits a Transportation Priority Project letter to the Secretary of Maryland Department of Transportation, MDOT. The purpose of the letter is for annual consideration to be included in the state's upcoming 6-year capital transportation budget, the Consolidated Transportation Program, CTP. Counties determine their priorities, prepare local and regional priority letters, and in the spring submit the letters to the state for budget deliberations over the summer. The MDOT's draft capital program is then finalized and submitted with the governor's budget to the General Assembly in January. For the next budget cycle, FY25 through 30, the Departments of Planning and Zoning, Public Works, and Community Resources will continue to ask MDOT to support previously prioritized projects that remain underfunded or on hold. Major transportation priorities over $10 million include the Thomas Johnson Bridge/MD4, preliminary engineering and rights-of-way acquisitions, MD24 phases 3A and 3B, north of Fox Run to north of Stokely Road. Minor/system preservation project priorities under $10 million include Transit Transfer Station, Planning and Design continue to support safety enhancements at 3 intersections on MD 231, MD 765 sidewalk extension between Oldfield Road and Calvert Town Road, adaptive signal control in Prince Frederick Town Center and Dunkirk Town Center, MD 4 in Anne Arundel County, MD 258 and MD 4 intersection, traffic calming measures on MD 4 south coming into Dunkirk to provide a crosswalk at Town Center Boulevard, MD 402, bike lane/sidewalk installation from Calvert High School to Armory Road, Chesapeake Bay Passenger Ferry. Anticipated future funding, FYI for MDOT only at this time. Support requests from the town of Chesapeake Beach include MD 261, complete sidewalk construction from Beach Elementary School to Chesapeake Village and along Old Bayside Road to F Street. Extend the Chesapeake Beach Railway Trail to E Street, traffic calming in front of Bayfront Park. Boardwalk safe crossing on MD 261 south of Seagate Square. The BOCC asked staff to return with the official document prior to submitting to the state. There is no BOCC meeting next week in observance of President's Day. The next regularly scheduled meeting of the Calvert County Board of County Commissioners will be held February 27, 2024 at 10 a.m. In other Calvert County local news and events, the new 2024-2025 Calvert County Visitor's Guide is now available. Pick up a physical copy at your local library or interact with the digital flipbook at www.visitcalvert.com/brochure. The Calvert County Election Board is notifying voters in the Dunkirk, St. Leonard, and Lusby areas about changes to their polling places. To ensure voters are informed and prepared for the upcoming primary elections, the Election Board is working to keep the community informed about changes affecting the electoral process. Voters can confirm their polling locations online at www.calvertcountymd.gov/polling places. Voters are encouraged to bookmark www.calvertcountymd.gov/vote for important local voting information. Follow the Calvert County Election Board on Facebook for continuous updates. That concludes our broadcast. The Calvert County, Maryland Commissioners Reports is a headline news podcast. Stay current with other news in Calvert County by following and liking the Calvert County government's Facebook page at facebook.com/Calvert County MD, on Instagram at Calvert Broadcast, on YouTube, youtube.com/Calvert County Gov, and our official website, www.calvertcountymd.gov. Thank you.